This is to the man who feels behind. You're okay. It's okay to feel behind. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're ruined. It doesn't mean that all your potential is gone. It's okay to feel behind. It's okay to look around, see where other people are, and feel like you should be there too. That's okay. I mean, let's be honest. There's some things you could have done better, right? There is. But acknowledging that doesn't mean that you are a failure. Acknowledging that you have messed some things up or not gone after some things you should have or given up too soon. We can acknowledge those things without you letting this condemnatory voice tell you that you're a failure. Because guess what? You are not the judge. And when you take the place of judge, you do so with a heart of pride. God alone judges you, my brother. God alone. Not you. Not your dad. Not some influencer on YouTube. Not your friend. Not your ex. Not yourself. God alone judges you. So maybe you need to listen to what he says and not what you say. Because whenever you start listening to yourself, whenever you start thinking, oh, I'm behind, I'm a failure, I'm a loser, and you take his spot in the judgment seat of your life, you're counting your own estimation as more valuable and more important than his. You're saying, God, I know what you say about me, but I would prefer to listen to what I say about me. You would prefer to listen to your own voice. You would prefer to esteem the importance of your own voice as higher than the voice of God's. But God made you. God created you. And the way that works is he gets to decide what your worth is, not you. He is the author, and he is the one who works, and he is the one who finishes, and he is the one who judges. And for those of you who will open your hands and accept the free grace of God, the free gift through the sacrifice of Christ, he offers to you not just salvation, but a new identity. The identity of a beloved, adopted, valuable son. A son who is not judged on what he has done or has not done, but judged solely on the basis of who his father is. You see, a prince is only a prince because of who his father is. A prince is not a prince because he earned it, because he worked and got promoted and made it happen. A prince is a prince because he was born into it, or in your case, he was adopted into it. And I want you to know something. When Paul in the scripture tells us that we've been adopted into the family of God, he's speaking to a primarily Roman audience in that letter. And in Roman law, you could actually disown a child that had been given to you through birth. You could actually disown your own blood and say, I've got nothing more to do with them. But under Roman law, you could not disown a child that you had adopted. God cannot and will not disown you. When Jesus died on the cross, he said, "It is finished." He didn't say, "It's mostly done. I hope he picks it back up where I left off." He didn't say, "Your sins are partially paid for as long as you make a certain amount of money by the time you're 30. That's not what he said. The work is finished and complete. He can do that because of him being God and not being bound by the constraints of time. He can jump around like that, and he can pay for everything you ever did, are doing, and ever will do in one moment. He said, "It is finished." And for those of you who are feeling behind in life, you wanted to have a certain amount of money, you wanted to have a certain lifestyle, you wanted to have a certain woman, maybe you wanted a certain amount of kids. To those of you who are feeling behind, I want you to step out of the judgment seat and let God back in and hear his words. You are mine. Those are the words he offers to you. You are mine. Can you accept that? Can you let yourself accept his love for you? Or do you have to put up these walls? Do you have to put up these walls that say, "No, I've got to earn it. No, I've got to make it happen. I can't let myself feel love until I've proven it to myself and the world that I'm worthy." Makes you feel like a man just saying it. If it is to be, it's up to me. Right? No. Not according to the gospel. The gospel is referred to as a stumbling block or foolishness because it doesn't make sense to the egoically driven masculine mind. Ladies, when they're in their natural feminine state, have a much easier time receiving good things that they didn't earn. We as men, we have a lot of trouble with that. But when you approach the throne of grace, you don't do it with a price in your hand. You don't do it with all of your treasures and righteousness, saying, "Look, may I approach the throne of grace? Look at what I've done. Look at what I've accomplished." No. You approach the throne of grace with empty hands, saying, "I have nothing. I don't deserve this. But can I take it? Can I accept it? Will you free me, heal me, save me?" And when he bestows the gift of grace upon you, I need you to understand it is not just salvation from hell. That's part of it. It's a whole new identity. Pure, clean. The old has passed away. All things have become new. Part of the reason why you're not living up to your potential is because you were not designed to be ruled by shame, and yet you continue to let shameful beliefs rule your life. Beliefs that were true and that did apply to you apart from Christ, but are no longer in authority over you unless you give the reins back to them, which many of you do. Many of you are driven by subconscious, meaning under the conscious beliefs that you're not worthy, that you do have to prove something, that you do have to earn it. You're driven by these beliefs, and you're also driven by a belief that says you'll never be enough. And so when all these beliefs work together, you try, you make progress, you make headway. But then that other belief of I will never be enough starts to take charge, and it will ensure that you always self-sabotage and that you always return back to that same comfortable, shameful level that you started from. Every time. You will always seek alignment to and equilibrium with the belief that rules you the most. And for many of you, it is the belief that I will never be enough. Because you've been feeling behind for a long time. Let's be real. You've been feeling behind for a while now. My brother, don't think any amount of effort is going to change that. You've given it your best shot on quite a few shots already. Hasn't worked. Right? When can you put down the ego and accept His grace in full? When can you do it? How many more years do you want to spend trying to earn something that Christ already paid for, which is your self-worth, your confidence, your power, your source of strength? Those of you who know me know my story in a deeper and more intimate way than I'll get into on this public video. But suffice it to say, I was doing good on paper for a long time. When I was in my early 20s, I was making good money, well above the household average income in the US. I was making that in early 20s, right? I was working at the Walmart World headquarters in Bentonville, Arkansas. I was leading the young adults group at my church. I was in the gym in good shape. I was leading worship. I had a beautiful wife who came from a good family in the church. On paper, everything was good. And that's kind of always how my life had been. I'd made good grades, been able to rise to the top of social hierarchies. When I was ready to start dating, I began dating and found the woman I wanted to marry within probably 6-9 months. I didn't really start till I was out of college. Secured that pretty quickly after. Everything was good. Everybody was in support of the marriage. Everything looked good. Got promotions at work. And from a place of experience, let me tell you, you can have all the things going for you. By no means was I behind in life at that time. But something can still be missing. Something can still be off. That inner voice of shame can still be telling you more, not enough, more, not enough. And that was the case with me, and I'm sure as you can relate, sometimes when you're doing well, you can do well enough for long enough to silence the voice of shame for a little while, but it will always find a way to pop back up until you solve it at the source. And for me, I don't know if I would have ever actually got down to the depths of it and solved it at its very root unless I experienced a catastrophe, unless I experienced my marriage falling apart, which I did. And unfortunately, it wasn't just this out of the blue surprise. It was a process, an agonizing process over multiple years of me doing everything I could to try to save the marriage. Trying my best to fix her, fix myself, fix the relationship. And it all ended in ruin. And at the same time, my career was hitting a dead end. I had taken a pay cut to work somewhere new, and it wasn't paying off. and I was working harder than I ever had been, being treated much more poorly than I ever thought possible. And as my career was crumbling, as my marriage was crumbling, in ways that only if you know, you know, but as all those things were crumbling together, only then did I get to the root. Only then did I realize I've been trying to put my confidence in me. I've been trying to find my self-worth in what I'm doing. And it's not working. It's not working. Something's broke. I gotta change how I operate if I want to continue to not just live, but make it, like survive. Say nothing of doing well. I mean, if I'm going to keep putting one foot in front of the other, I have to restructure my self-worth. And so I did. And I started finding it with God in the judgment seat instead of myself. And as it turns out, when you're under the blood of Christ, God is a much more merciful judge than you will be. He will give you much more mercy than you will give yourself if you're under the blood of Christ. And it's not really a tricky thing. It's not really a complicated thing. He says, unless you have faith like a child, you can't enter the kingdom. A child's faith is not complex. The object of our faith, the hero of our faith, has much depth and complexity, but the faith itself is childlike, and it can be very simple. It's simply, I am who you say I am, and that's enough. If I belong to you, that is enough. That same invitation is open to you right now. Right now, bro. And some of you, this is resonating with you, and you know that you want to take that, but you want to live that way, and you want to embrace that, but something's holding you back. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel, this feels like something's off. It feels too easy. It's got to be more to it, right? You know where to find me if you want to talk about it more. But let me just say, if it takes a tragedy for you to learn what I learned, then I hope that that tragedy befalls you. But I also hope that it doesn't have to come to that. The real tragedy would not be for you to be ruined so much that you had to dig deep enough to rewire your self-worth. That wouldn't be the real tragedy. The real tragedy would be for you to go your whole life kind of making it work and kind of not, using the lies of an egoic, selfish self-worth with you in the judgment seat. The real tragedy would be for you to go like that your entire life and then die, never having lived as an adopted son of God. It's for the boys, episode 38 now, I think. Y'all take care.